Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a tricky rack. The tiles are fairly bingo-y, but there are two sets of duplicates and there's the U. So there could be a bingo here, but there probably aren't very many bingos. I don't have a 7, so I'll wait and see what floaters my opponent provides. I've got the UN prefix and the IER ending, and I could have both of those. I could have a word like untidier. Now my opponent has changed, which is annoying because it means I have no floaters. So do I play or do I change? If I play, I'll be providing a lot of good floaters for my opponent and not scoring very much. So I don't think changing can be a bad thing to do. So certainly the I and the U and the R, and I think I'll stick with that. Great, I have inverse, versine, veneres, veners, enviers, and hopefully one or more of those will go after my opponent has played. Versine takes an S. Nevi doesn't take any hooks before or after it, but I can certainly play. I can play. I was going to say I had a play in row G or H, but I'm not sure I do. So what do I have through a floater? Onto a T, I would have reinvest. What about the A? That's in the double column. Wow, this has suddenly become a much trickier rack than I was expecting. I thought I was going to have a choice of bingos, and now I haven't seen any which play. And I can't. My opponent's positioning of Nevi means I don't have a play beginning at G1 or I1 because V takes nothing in front or after it. Wow, has my opponent really blocked every single bingo? Well, 4 of his tiles duplicate tiles on my rack, which doesn't help. But even so, this does look like a bingo-y rack. Ah, well, Nervines is good. But does that have an anagram? Nervines takes an S at the end. And do I have anything through this A, which would be much better, I think. Well, I need to get this game going, so I'm going to play Nervines. Find out later what I've missed. Nervines 72. Not great. Too many vowels and no scoring tiles. There probably is an 8-letter bingo with these 5 vowels. They're tricky to spot. So I'm just looking at the consonants on the board to see if anything comes to mind. Just wondering about unavail with an E at the end. Well, I'm not seeing anything. So how to sort this rack out? Well, I certainly do want to play off one of the A's and a U. So a play of AUA would work. And that would play next to the second E of nervines. So I don't think there's a bingo here. AUA doesn't take anything after it. The trouble with playing AUA is that I'm setting up J2, the triple letter square, as quite a hot spot, because a P could go there and a 5-letter play could score 40 or 50 points. Now, Aurelian plays through the R. Great, well, I think I do have a bingo. I think one of the Aurelia words may have been taken out of the latest word list, so Aurelian may not be good, but it certainly has been good fairly recently, so I'm going to try it. My opponent's taking a while with his play. Well, quite a difference between Aurelian and AUA, score-wise. I'm just considering that my opponent may well block this spot, which he does. Okay, so has my opponent provided anywhere new for AUA? Well, I could play AUE up here. Let me see what this scores. £17 points, as opposed to 9. I think that's worth doing. The E is not 9 points better than the A, and I'm not setting up that hot spot in a triple letter square. Well, I have got some scoring tiles now. I don't think I have a bingo. I do have the man ending. Wild man I don't think is good. I've got a 50-point lead, which is quite slender. Eon takes a P in front. One of those is still out there. Just looking around at the floaters in case I have a bingo. Don't think so. And I haven't seen anywhere great for my W or my M, and certainly the playing off the W is a priority. I guess there's this spot next to the E of nervines. But I'm struggling. Oh, my opponent's gone there anyway. Now my W can go in front of is, as can my I. And do I have a 5-letter play? Well, if I do, it would score a lot. And it doesn't have to begin with the W. A 5-letter play beginning with the M would also score quite well. And my I and A, either of them can go in front of the N or the T, and many of my tiles can go in front of the I, so I have a lot of candidate moves to consider. Daiwan doesn't quite work. 15 minutes on my clock. Tricky. Do I really not have a 5-letter play here? Milan isn't good. Milor isn't good. Well, I'm not seeing a play, and I'm even considering placing a D here. So what about a 3-letter play? I could play WAD. for 34 points, which is quite a good score. Wham isn't good. More doesn't work. DI takes nothing in front. Whiz takes an I in front. This rack leave isn't great, but it goes quite well with the floating E. Well, this doesn't look too bad. It's quite balanced, and I do have scoring tiles. Just wondering about hominial. Don't think that's good. I would need a floating A in any event. I'm looking at the top of A1 to see if I've got anything which works right at the top here. But I certainly want to play off one of my I's, so I can't play up there. Now, I do have an I for going in front of Whiz. That's just been blocked. Hello takes an S at the end. My H or my M can go after this O and get tripled twice. But can I play off one of my I's in that spot? Well, I could just play high. I think I'm going to struggle to place an I higher up in hello. And place my H or M here. My high is good, but that doesn't work in column 6. So let me see what this looks like. 26 points, quite a good score, not particularly dangerous, and a balanced rack leave with a scoring tile. Great, that looks pretty close to a bingo. Do I have a 7? Through a B I would have nombrils. Got the floaters in Nevi to consider and the L of hello, which doesn't look particularly useful, and nor does the I of high. Through an E, I would have miss and roll, but that doesn't work with this E. I've also got these 2 letter sets TE and ER to consider. Can't see anything with TE. Or ER. Well, there could be a 7-letter play here, and if there is, it may well play above the I of Nevi. But Limnors isn't good. So I can't see a 7. If there is one there, it has eluded me. Now the E of hello is also available, but again in the wrong place for miss and roll. So if I'm not bingoing, where can I score well? I note that my M can go after ER. I can't see anything great there. Now I note that column 1 is a good 7-letter bingo lane for bingos ending in S, which I do have one of those. Now I hope I haven't missed a bingo with this rack. It's not that great vowel-wise. A's and E's are more bingo-y than I's and O's. I'm looking at the I of Nevi. Okay, 12 points for my opponent. He's taken out that bingo lane, but at the cost of not scoring very much. What I don't have is a bingo ready to go down. I could play lim down here. 17 points, not great. ORS, quite a good rack leave. 12 minutes on my clock, 48 tiles left. Now, what do I have actually going in row O across? This is quite a good rack. I was just thinking about playing OLM. Because the I is better than the O. So if I played in row O, I certainly do want to play off the M for score. Well, I'm struggling to see a play in that spot. This does not feel great. But 17 points isn't terrible either. Well, through an E I would have Sockages. But Wish doesn't take an S at the end, so the E of Navy again in the wrong spot. So I can't see a bingo with this rack. 22 points for my opponent. Now I'm wondering about playing in row O, placing my S. Well, if I placed my S here, and I haven't got a word yet, but I could place my G here. Oh, I've got crossing. So this is not a bingo, but it is a 9-timer. So that's 117 points, which is pretty good. And I draw both blanks, plus the Q and the U. So through the right floater I would have C Quake, and my opponent has now blocked this E of Nevi with his play of FE. But I've got the QU, so I could well have a bingo with this rack. Only 10 minutes on my clock. The K, I think, is the problem tile here if C Quake doesn't go down. Just looking around at the floaters. It's very hard when you've got two blanks because you can't consider all 500 odd pairs, and there's no sensible way of really cutting that down. I think what I'll try and do is play off the Q. Or possibly the K. The Q with the U is good. But I haven't seen anywhere good for either the Q or the K. 10 minutes on my opponent's clock, 10 minutes on my clock. No, I'm still just staring at this rack, waiting for inspiration, but nothing is coming to mind. My opponent changes, which is good in a way. Now, what about placing my Q here on this triple letter square? So I would have QUE. Well, that doesn't go very far. I'm reluctant to burn either of my vowels. If I don't have to. Now I could just play QUAI down here, but that feels weak. So what am I missing? I could play Qua and La. 16 points. That's, well, just not very many points. Mars Quake would work through the right floaters. I don't think Pote takes an S in front. 9 minutes on my clock. I don't want to run out of time here. Well, maybe I should just play Qua and move on. 16 points. It's not providing very much for my opponent, which is in its favour. Now I draw another high-scoring tile, which could well obstruct me from bingoing. Gazillion is good, but again, that's a 9-letter play through 2 floaters, and there aren't many of those to consider on this board, and none which work. Now, there are some floaters, so I could now play Seaquake. Do I have anything which bingos with this rack? And there could well be a 7-letter play here. There's 8 minutes on my clock, 27 tiles left, so I don't want to hang around. I'm in a strong position. I'm over 100 points ahead. So I just don't want to get into time trouble. I would have Kazoo through an O. Well, what I could do is just play Tsar here for 33 points. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Now I've got the K to get rid of. Wow, 52 points for my opponent. That's good for him. I think sometimes having 2 blanks can be a problem because it can be hard to see bingos. I suspect I have missed some. Maybe I missed Gazooka last go. Possibly not. So where can my K go? What about playing onto this E? I could play Oak across here. If I don't play here, my opponent probably will, just a 3-letter play. Well, let me pause. 7 minutes left. Let's try and do something sensible, which would, I think, involve getting rid of the G and the K. Now, there's almost certainly a bingo here. Maybe I should be looking for that. Well, yes, there's Soaking, isn't there, which I could play across from Naive. Yes, I think it's the KG combination without the I made me think this was a harder rack than it is. So I have Soaking. Is there a better place to play it rather than above the eye of Nevi? And do I have a play down through this E which would get doubled? Now, I haven't seen a play yet, but it worked last time. If I put AGE down, do I have a play ending AGE? Well, possibly, but it's not coming to mind, and I'm short on time, so I think I will play the bingo I've seen. Soaking, which takes an S, so this isn't a great play. 63 points. But I draw an S. In fact, it's the last S, so this is available for me. I have Juicy on my rack. Now my J can go above this A, but nothing goes in front of the K, so I'm going to struggle to score twice with it. I can't see a way of playing in column 15 to use my S and the J. Can't see anywhere for Juicy. I don't have anything apart from my S for going in front of Axe, and I think I would like to keep hold of the S for Soakings. Juicy could play through the I, but wouldn't get doubled. I could just play J through the A. It would be nice to play off the U as well, because with the S this looks fairly bingo-y. But I think I'm going to struggle to play off J, U and Y unless I could play Jury somewhere. Or Juicy. maybe that's an argument for playing juicy down here. At the moment, row H is quite bingo-y. Now, my opponent has played in that spot. He's got 35 points. He hasn't provided anywhere great for my J. So, the advantage of playing juicy is that I'm getting rid of all of my non-bingo-y tiles, which are the J, U, and Y. I'm stopping my opponent from playing a 4 or 5 letter play in row H, which helps to keep open the S hook for soaking. Pretty awful. I draw a lot of vowels. There's now not many in the bag. Just 4 vowels out of 16 tiles. But I have no scoring tiles. So I'm probably not going to get another bingo down, which is a shame. Now, I've got UOI on my rack. But that would burn the E, which is quite bingo-y. Maybe I just need to slow down. 9 tiles left. As long as the soakings column remains available, I have a chance of bingoing there. Now I've got, well, counter to that, I've got Ouija through the J. Which would be quite nice because it would sort out my vowel troubles and it would retain the E. Actually, and it would keep open soakings. It would stop 1 square after the J, so I like Ouija. And I'd be keeping EOS, which is vowel heavy, which is fine since the bag is so vowel light. Now, what if my opponent blocks Ouija? And he may do because the triple letter square above the A is quite hot. Furley for 43 points. Nice play. Good score. Ouija stays available. 24 points. 4 tiles in the bag. I am emptying the bag. Not usually a good thing to do. But I think it's okay here because I think the game is won. And I think this maximises my chances of bingoing. Although, having said that, if I empty the bag, my opponent will see exactly what I've got, and this is pretty much the only bingo lane, so he'll block it. So, is there a way of playing off fewer tiles? I would certainly want to play off the U and an O. Well, I think this is worth doing for score. Even if my opponent blocks a bingo, this is a good score. And if he blocks column 15, well, column 15 down from the Y may remain available. That doesn't look great. I can see what my opponent's got, and he's got rubbish. I've got quite a good rack, but I don't think it's quite good enough. I don't think there is a 7-letter bingo here. I can't see anything through the floating Y of Furley. Column 14 would also be available for an S something G bingo. Can't see anything there. So that gambit has not played off. But I'm in a strong position. This game is won. Now I've still got this swish hook. So I could play dose down here. 29 points, and then that would leave me with tie. And what have I got in column 15? My opponent will see that I haven't got a bingo, so he may not block this. Do I have a play which places my S after soaking and reaches down to the Y. Well, I haven't seen such a play yet. I do have, well, my opponent's blocked that anyway, which is fine. So he's got BRRT, he's not going out in 1, I don't think. Now, do I want to burn my S making swish, or keep it for toadies? Rax takes nothing after it, Pogie doesn't extend. Well, I think I'm going to play dose, because I can't see anywhere which scores more, and I'm fairly sure I can go out with tie. I can certainly play it here, making TA. Where else will it go? Well, maybe it's not such a flexible set of tiles. I've got 3 minutes left. Gosh, is that really the only spot for tie? Well, let me put this back. So, what if I play does? Well, that does. I don't want to provide a vowel for my opponent. Two minutes left. So, what about playing Deet down here? 20 points, that's not great. Well, I don't like dose because tie is blockable by BRR, but then I would have tier, so I think my opponent would struggle to block that. So I'm sure this is not optimal, but it is winning. And I may have overlooked a tie spot. Now what I have overlooked is the QI spot. Tie doesn't play there. But TI does, so I will be able to score. Great, my opponent sets up tier. 12 points. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game, which he does. And the final score, 331 to my opponent, 481 to me, a winning margin of 150 points. So a massive, massive win. Let's see what I missed. So it was my opponent to go first. He changed. This was my rack. Well, and this is what I didn't want to do, play off 5 really useful floaters for a pretty low score, so I changed as well. My opponent's rack, he played Naivi, and then this is what I had. I found Nervines, Inerbs also playable, and Veneries, which I didn't see. Vineries, certainly should have seen that, but anyway, I somehow managed to get one of the Nervines plays. My opponent's rack, he played Pote. Did he have a bingo? No. And this is my rack. Aurelian was blocked. AUE at A2. Looks fine. And this was my opponent's rack. Looks quite good. He played Binet. And now there wasn't any great 5-letter play, so Ward looks fine. My opponent's rack, he plays Hello. Hon. Oh wow, I didn't really consider the N front hook for Eon. I saw the P, but not the N. So yeah, Hon for 42. It does retain 2 eyes, but that's a big score. Instead, I played high for 26 points. So dropping 16 points and avoiding the double I. Well, Hon certainly a better play. My opponent plays Nount. Great, I didn't miss a bingo here. It looked close to a bingo, but there wasn't one. I played limb, which doesn't feature... Well, it does feature limb for 17, keeping ORS. Yeah, probably some of these plays which burn the S are better. My opponent plays FE, and now I have crossing for 117, which is pretty fortunate. My opponent's rack, he changed. Now, did I miss a bingo here? No, I didn't. And not many high-scoring plays. Everything on show here burns a blank, apart from Aqua for 25, which keeps the K, so it was a tricky rack to play through. My opponent's rack plays Ideated. Now, did I miss a bingo here? No. Okay. And again, blanks are being burnt. What did I do? I played Tsar for 33. Yep, I think that's worthwhile. Only 16 points less than the best play, and it keeps the second blank. My opponent plays Axe. And now this is my soaking rack, and there was a ton of bingos, but none scoring more than 69 points. Now, where are these bingos being played? Well, they are all being played at this soaking spot, but scoring slightly more. My opponent's rack, he has Malia, but no playable bingo. He plays Ramai, and this was a rack I struggled with. And you can see the reason here. Look at the rack leaves. I've got the S, I've got CEIS, which is really bingo-y, but that beautiful rack leave is then spoilt by the retention of a U or a Y. So it's hard to see any rack leaves down here which are really attractive, apart from the juicy one. So I'm happy with that move. My opponent plays Fairly, and then my juicy play didn't play off. I kept EIS, but I picked up 4 vowels, which wrecked it. But Ouija was a nice way of sorting that out. My opponent plays Pogie, and then I do have a bingo rack, but it's too late, I think. And it took a while, but went for Dose in the end. My opponent plays Burr, and I played Tier quite quickly. Tice was available at H10. Okay, so Tice was available as well as Tie. That was the second out that I didn't spot, so which makes Dose a better play. So I played Tier for 12 and missed 4 points, but it didn't affect the result, so it was a big win, nearly 500 points, 150 points of spread. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.